In this video, we'll cover the process of buying a business and the reasons for doing it. So to start with, why we even want to buy a business? Well, $10 trillion will change hands over the next decade. From baby boomers that are looking to retire, now their kids don't want to inherit those businesses because they want to start the next Uber or Airbnb technology company. So there's a massive opportunity to buy businesses pennies on the dollars because they are super motivated to sell their businesses before they retire. But then you might be asking, what are the benefits of acquiring a business over starting one from scratch? Or trying to grow a business organically, one client at a time? Well, there are a few things. So to start with, when you buy a business, you buy it with existing established operations. You go into a business, they already have happy customer base. They already have team members that know how to work with each other. We all know how difficult it is to hire, train, retain good people, right? So with buying existing companies, we skip all of those struggles. When you buy companies, you get yourself into proven revenue streams, right? You can grow by years worth of sales in the day you buy in a business. It takes years to grow revenues of companies. You can go out there to companies that already do the numbers that you want to do. And you can use other people's money and asset-based financing to buy those businesses. Think about it. If you buy a business doing, let's say, 2 million a year, how long in comparison would it take you to grow by 2 million organically, one client at a time? All the marketing efforts, all the advertising efforts, all the market and research development efforts on things that might or might not work. In an acquisition, the day you were doing an acquisition, you basically bought yourself 2 million extra revenues if the business is doing 2 million in revenues. You got yourself into existing infrastructure. You get yourself into proven processes. From day one, you buy a business that already have a product market fit, so there are happy customers around that business. Instead of trying to get there from scratch or testing new products or ideas you have in your business. It's also the best way I found to become an owner investor versus an owner doer or operator. And you can get great returns as a capital allocator or investor compared to, let's say, the stock market or real estate, because you're so much more in control in here, and the upside is asymmetric. And it's the best way to get out of the entrepreneur roller coaster or any plateau that you might have as a business owner, or breakpoints that you get in the business that 99% of entrepreneurs hit at some point in their journeys, unless they start to grow by acquisitions. So it's the idea of growing one company at a time versus just one client at a time. To understand the potential of acquisitions, you need to understand what we call valuation curve. It's basically the idea that if you stay by yourself as a small company, then your company is most likely worth 2, 3, maybe 5 times multiples of your profits, right? That would be the value of your business right now. But as the company goes bigger, it can be worth 7, up to 10, or even 20 times in the public markets, just by being a larger company. And obviously I'm super simplifying it right now, but it's to clarify the fact that growth is important. And it's very hard to do it organically with just sales and more marketing. Think about it this way, 1 million profit company might be worth 3 million, right? Depends on the sector, of course, depends on the quality of revenues and clients and whatnot. But a company in comparison, let's say doing 10 million profits, can be worth 70 to 200 million, just because it's bigger and more professionalized. And basically it's less risky or seen as less risky for investors or a potential future buyer. There are massive companies out there like WPP or XPO. You might or might have not heard about them, but for example, WPP is a massive marketing agency that is basically a holding group for thousands of small marketing agencies. XPO is a holding company in the trucking space that basically owns thousands of small trucking companies, like the one actually my buddy Borislav, we helped bought a business that's now doing 13 million a year in revenues. And he bought that business using other people's money, none of his own cash, to grow by 13 million in revenues. The guy used to be a truck driver, he now owns a 13 million revenues trucking company. Imagine if he basically bought hundreds of those businesses in the next few years in the same sector. There's no reason for him not to become a company competing with XPO. And instead of being valued at 2, 3, 4 times multiples of his profits, it can be valued at 10, 20 times multiples of his profits. Again, very difficult to achieve that growth without acquisitions. There's a reason that the biggest companies are growing by buying other companies. That Google is buying YouTube, that Facebook is buying WhatsApp and Instagram. So that's the beauty of the valuation curve. That's also how I helped one of my friends with a company that is now traded on Nasdaq. And the valuation on his company is at least 5 times more than the same company would receive in the private sector. And if it was just a bit smaller. because they went out there, they did the right acquisitions and the right integration between companies, and were able to grow very fast from 0 to 100 million in revenues in less than 3 years. To achieve those numbers of growth organically, growing one client at a time or starting a business from scratch and achieving product market fit is almost impossible. That's why 99% of startups fail, because hiring team members, figuring out new products is very difficult. So the process of buying a business, in a nutshell, the process is very simple. Easier said than done, of course, but just to give you an overview on the process, the first step, you need to go out there and do research and find great deals, right? You need to find great companies, ideally with people who are motivated to sell their business, so you're not paying premium. The second step is you need to analyze the deal and make sure that the deal is a good deal, right? So hopefully you have a good positioning, so the seller or the broker is taking you seriously. Then you look at the deal, you need to understand what is a good deal. The third step would be to then find financing and deal structures, right? So how do you finance the acquisition? You don't necessarily need to put your money or all of your money. There are a lot of ways to finance deals. The fourth step would be diligence and closing the deal. And the fifth step would be all about transitioning from the previous owner and making sure that you're at least sustaining the profitability of the business you just bought, because we don't want to buy distressed companies. We want to buy companies that are making money. There are a lot of pillars involved in each of those steps, of course, and that's what we'll do and go through in the next videos. So for now, just realize the opportunity for you to buy an existing business or grow your existing business by acquisition and dominate your market that way. Because you can buy your competitors, you can buy complementary businesses, you can buy businesses in sectors you want to be part of. And remember that in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll have more opportunities than all of us had or will have in our lifetime when it comes to buying businesses. So I think that at least it will be a good idea for you to learn how to make the most out of this opportunity. In this video, we'll cover the importance of selecting the right sector for your business acquisition. Some of the few factors you'll want to consider in choosing a sector for your business acquisition would be things like the industry trends, would be the growth potential of that industry, would be your personal expertise and interests, and also your personal network. It will be about figuring out the market demand and competition. And it's always a good idea to go out there and conduct some sector analysis and researching previous deals to learn the price and multiples that they sold for, to create your own kind of like box on what is reasonable acquisition price for you. It would also be a good idea for you to go out there and check what the good potential exit might look like for you. So you start with the end in mind before you even buy a business, or because same sector, different companies and positioning can get very different multiples in the exit, just by positioning things right from day one, right? So I like to look into data, not just in the private space, but also for public market acquisitions, to have more things to compare it to. It's a very good idea to go out there and learn about the sector, right? To figure out if it's growing or declining. Do we have good margins or not in that sector? Is it easy to compete? Is it easy to hire people in that field or not? In this video, we'll talk about how to find great companies to purchase. Now remember, we don't want to find any company. We want to find good, profitable companies from people who are actually motivated to sell those businesses. There are many reasons for people to be willing and wanting to sell a good business, right? And the most obvious ones are potential personal issues that I can get into, like death in the family or divorce and whatnot. There's a lot of personal situations going on. Or they're looking to retire. Like we said, there are a lot of baby boomers looking to retire, and a lot of them own businesses. And a lot of them just shut down their businesses and liquidate the assets and sell assets for cheap. So you can buy one of those businesses, right? Now, there are many methods for finding businesses for sale or finding businesses to buy in general, right? There are what we call on-market opportunities or on-market methods. So those are businesses that are already for sale, right? People already raise their hand looking to sell. You can find them with business brokers, online marketplaces, and different industry publications. And there are also off-market opportunities or off-market methods where you're doing the sell of buying those businesses before they ever showed any interest in selling them. So obviously you have a much larger pool of options then, right? Some ways to find off-market companies are via direct outreach, email automations, and different networking methods. One of the things that we built in our acquisitions.com platform over the last few years are different proprietary methods to find exclusive deals that no one has access to yet. And the way we did it is we built relationships with many brokers out there. So we have exclusive listings from them and deal flow from the best brokers out there that send us deals before they show it to anyone else. In addition to that, we also build a data and research team that of course you can build for your own, right? But we've been in that business for years. And that data and research team is out there constantly curating deals from the web and the market to find more targeted acquisitions and different brokers and listings from the web that are constantly coming into the market. So it's about building relationships with brokers that you can have, and it's about curating deals and seeing them first before anyone else. We also build proprietary processes using technology and automations and different SOPs and scripts and whatnot to find off-market opportunities. Right? So we have exact copy and paste scripts that we constantly A/B testing to find out what works best with new technology, with new processes, and now with AI and whatnot. And of course, we're constantly updating this with customized support and processes with the best in the field. And that's exactly how we work with my buddy, John Kaplan. We worked with him to buy 3 businesses in the home service space. Each of those businesses doing at least $1 million in revenues, and each of those businesses that he now owns and have a management team in place, profitable business, management team in place to help him with the day-to-day operations. And in fact, 2 of those business deals came from cold outreach with specific scripts and processes that we gave him to use. And it's funny, but the 3rd deal actually came from him just door knocking in the business, but then knowing exactly what to say to the business owner. So he's taking him seriously, but also not being too scared or seeing someone with too much money and only asking for premium, right? So it's very important to figure out how you make sure that they see you as a credible and respectful buyer that will take care of his business and his employees and customers, but also not that someone is necessarily like a massive private equity firm that will pay premium or give the owner his dream price for the exit. So it's about finding the balance between building rapport and also positioning yourself as someone who's credible, even if you never did it yet. Right? So finding the right deal is really important. It's about finding motivated sellers and not just every business owner, because otherwise you can just spend the rest of your life looking for deals. There are too many businesses out there. So it's about filtering them fast. And it's about finding the best deals, the right deals, not just random deals for the sake of saying that we got a deal. Right? So ideally, we don't want, for example, the business to be distressed or too bad, because we want to buy good companies that can bring great cash flows and growth to us and to just bring us money. Because the last thing you want is to buy a bad business that is distressed, that you just need to redeploy capital into just to keep it alive. And I've heard a lot of those horror stories of people who spend their life savings and their family life savings to just keep a business afloat that they bought and they don't even like, and the business is losing money. So it's better to miss those problems right away. So a lot of it comes down to how do you position yourself, filter deals, and then how do you structure and analyze the deal? And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. We'll talk all about structuring those deals. In this video, we'll talk about how to analyze companies and structure deals when it comes to financing the acquisition. Now look, there are a lot of things to consider when it comes to analyzing the deals that you're finding and looking at. First one is financial analysis and diligence. So we want to make sure that the business will have enough cash to cover any potential loans that we'll put on the business without putting too much stress on the business so we can easily operate it. Other than financial analysis, we'll also want to do what we call cultural and operational analysis to ensure that we're not buying a messy business that will cause us more headaches than benefits. If you have one messy business and you're going to buy 10 more messy businesses, you're only going to end up with 11 messy businesses. So let's make sure that you're buying the right one or have a path on how to optimize things so it's professionalized, because good fundamentals are key for you to then scale later. And some of the analysis that we'll want to do is things like quality of revenues, quality of clients, key employee diligence, key suppliers, customers, and other assets that we want to check on the balance sheet, right? We want to also analyze and make sure that basically all of those are as promised. When it comes to then financing the acquisition, it's then very common to use banks, investors, and other financing sources and deal structures to close on acquisitions. So building your network of banks, of investors, of different structures can really help you close more of those deals or do deals faster. Some common deal structures that you might have heard of are things like figuring out between asset purchase or stock purchase, earnouts or seller financing, right? The idea that you can pay using the future cash flow of the business, using milestones to buy the business can be very lucrative. And some of different financing methods are using things like traditional bank financing, SBA loans, different cash flow loans, asset lenders, private equity or angel investors. Strategic partnerships are great. Equity investors are always great, right? In preferred returns or not. Then things like mergers between companies, roll-ups, upside deals, earning deals, working deals, supplier, customer financing, and many more. Now, no need to get confused around those. All of those are just more ways for you to get the seller. There's more ways for you to get the seller, get debt financing around the business if needed, obviously not too much, and or equity investors to be involved in you closing the deal. So it's basically a combination of a bank loan, investors, and the seller to help you finance different structures to close on the deal. And there are many, many ways, many paths towards the top of the mountain. Like, to give you an example, with my buddy Lyle, one of the deal we worked on was financing the acquisition from a supplier rebate. So the idea there is basically he received financing from the supplier of the acquisition target, who gave him a bonus cash for all the years that the previous owner worked with the supplier. He then used that capital, the rebate money that he received from the supplier, alongside investors and seller financing, so the seller finance part of the deal, to close on the deal. And he paid everyone over time using the acquisition target cash flow. We have a full interview on that, by the way. So you always want to consider your cost of capital, and of course your biggest goal here and challenge that will make you the most. So you always want to consider your cost of capital, and of course your biggest goal here and challenge that will take you the most time will be to build that network of investors and banks for the first time. Right? And at the same time, you want to do it with confidence that you're actually buying a good business, because you want to make sure that the deal is a good deal. Because you want to make sure that you'll be happy owning all or part of that business. And in the next video, we'll discuss the steps to closing the deal and then transitioning into ownership of the company. In this video, we'll talk about the final stages of the business acquisition process, so we can finalize the transaction and then transition from the previous owner. The steps you'll need to take here are, first, finalizing everything due diligence. So your financial, your legal, your cultural, your operational due diligence, all of those, this is the time to do that. Then you'll want to negotiate and draft what we call the official binding purchase agreement, so you can then become the official owner of the business. This is also the time to secure the last financing needs, right? And then to go out there and close the deal. It's an exciting period where all of your effort should be super focused, and should be super focused for you to go out there and collect all the information you need from the business and manage the full process with your accountants, lawyers, advisors, and whatnot, the banks, the investors, so everyone is out there prepared, ready, and happy, and you can close on a win-win transaction. At closing day, your focus will then shift to transitioning from the previous owner, so you want to focus on things like a day of closing, communicating with your new employees, right? Communicating with your customers, communicating with suppliers, everyone who is crucial to operate the business. That would be your goal and responsibility, or a manager that you'll have who's operating the business for you. You'll want to transfer that confidence and share your vision for the business. And those lessons are super important and are being built over time. It reminds me of my buddy Jason Reed, who is now on his 8th or 9th acquisition, I believe, so far. So for him, he already got processes and systems that he can follow with every new acquisition, and he's just copy pasting them now, right? So he can easily implement to improve operations and increase profitability right away with the right integration process. Over time, you'll of course want to continue to learn as much as possible about the business, right? The business you just bought, you want to learn as much as possible before implementing any drastic operational change, because if it's not broken, don't change it, right? So while you monitor existing performance and growth in the business, now when you're the owner, you also want to remember your initial vision, right? Because that's crucial, and you'll see and learn why starting with the end in mind was such a smart idea and important decision that you took. This is also the time where learning from the previous owner will take place. This is the time to optimize your processes to hire, retain, and train your team members, and make sure that everyone is accountable towards their own KPIs, key performance indicators, and have a path for growth inside of your organization. In the next video, we'll talk about implementing some of those strategies around all those topics that we discussed in previous videos. In this video, I want to introduce you Acquisitions Accelerator 2.0. So if you enjoy the video so far, then Acquisitions Accelerator is the best next logical step to help you implement those strategies so you can get results much faster with our help, network, and access to capital. Our Accelerator is a cohort-based training that is a comprehensive platform to help you buy a multiple seven-figure business or more in the next few months. It's the best place for you to be part of a network of 6, 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs who value the idea of growing companies by acquisitions. It's an opportunity for you to access our network of scouts, brokers that are out there consistently and constantly looking for deals for our members. And you could also have an opportunity to receive our proprietary systems and processes for finding off-market deals, with the scripts, with the methods, with the checklists. It's an opportunity for you to get someone to hold your hand and receive one-on-one support in implementing some of those strategies and all of those methods that we discussed in previous videos. So you're not making mistakes in the process and you start with the end in mind and have the intention and awareness around each step in the process. It's an opportunity for you to receive what we call a white glove or a red carpet introduction to banks that we work with, and also a potential to receive a direct investment from me or our syndicate fund that have access to thousands of investors with the opportunity to partner with you on your deals. So if you miss equity and miss capital to finance some of those deals, we can do bigger, better, faster deals with you. It's an opportunity for you to receive ongoing support to make sure that in a few months from now, you know what is a good deal and you'll become the owner of a multi-million-dollar company that we help you find, analyze, and make sure it's a good one and buy and close on the deal. We expect our members to put at least 1 hour a day of focused work towards buying their dream business. And the more the better, of course, right? But I want people who are focused. If you are focused and you know that that's what you want to do, you know, there are many options out there for you to learn how to buy businesses. You can buy lots of books around it as well, right? I'm sure, but what we did is we crafted and mastered is really the process of executing and implementing on the theories and achieving actual results versus overwhelming you with random theory. Our goal is to help you buy a business. If that's your goal, we can definitely help you. If your goal is just to learn more theory, then I'm sure Google and Amazon got amazing and enough opportunities for you to go out there, be overwhelmed and confused. In the end of the day, just look at the proof. We supported more than 100 acquisitions at this point in the last 3 years alone, right? With over 500 million worth of revenues of business acquisitions in pretty much any sector we can think of. We have people who came to us like Jeff, who already had a 7-figure business and since working with us, bought 4 more multi-million-dollar businesses. And people like Leo, who came to us originally from Nigeria, who bought multi-million-dollar business in the US in the healthcare space while living in Ukraine back then before the war, right? And used none of his own money, used other people's money to finance and close on his deal. And up to people like Michael, who bought 16 companies in less than 2 years that are being valued now at more than $200 million. So to support you in the business acquisition journey and help you get similar result, we offer a reduced cost of $10,000 if we select you for our next cohort and you decide to take on that discount price in the next few hours by applying below. Also, if you allow us to partner with you and invest in your company, we will refund the $10,000 as the first money out of the deal. This policy is in place to ensure that the entrepreneurs we work with have a vested interest in the acquisition, process, and are motivated to make the most out of our team time and resources. In the end of the day, even if you know all the theory and you believe you can get to your goal in the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years, wouldn't it be worth it if we were able to save you a few years? Now look, I understand some of you can't really make a fully well-informed decision until you've seen the whole thing, right? You only heard part of it today by hearing me talking about it. But I also want you to take advantage of the discounted price. So that's why if you apply to work with us today, you can go in, make a full, well-informed decision for the next week. If we select you, and if you like it, you keep it. And if you don't like it, we'll just give you your money back, no big deal. But at the same time, please understand, we only want to work with people who are fully committed on this journey. So by saying yes today, we could really give you all that we've got once we actually know you're fully committed to this. So as we finish this video series, you might find yourself sitting in the maybe category. And usually when we encounter this maybe, it's a sign that there's something getting in the way. And if I had to guess, it's time, money, or believe in yourself, right? When it comes to time, remember that we all have the same 24 hours in a day and the same 7 days in a week. So it's not so much how much time you have It's what you do with the time you have and what are your priorities that matters. Is it watching another TV show or a video or a book, or just maybe growing one client at a time? Or is it finally getting the results that you want and growing one business at a time by acquisition and achieving that exponential growth you've been looking for? If it's money, then reach out to us. We'll try to help you with financing options. In the end of the day, we're in the business of partnering with people. So if cash flow is a challenge, we'll do our best to help you. And perhaps you're just not sure. You lack the confidence in us, in me, but the truth is that you lack the confidence in yourself most likely. And until you'll snap out of, the limited mind of yours that we all have, you'll just stay where you're at. So this is an opportunity to give yourself permission to believe in yourself, perhaps more than you ever did. And I hope I can be the person, and we as a team can be the team to give you that permission so you can be one of our new partners and acquisition case studies. And in just a few months from now, you could be the owner of a multi-7-figure business. Either way, I appreciate you taking the time and watching this. And again, if you want to apply to the next cohort, click below this video. And if for whatever reason you didn't yet apply, please email us, support@acquisitions.com. Email me personally. I'd love to know how I can support you in your acquisition journey, either way, with us or any other way, and receive your feedback. Thank you for taking the time of watching this video series, and I'm looking forward to hear from you.